All right, folks, as promised, I was going to show you now a couple of things. One of them is going to be how do you get the enemy anchored inside of the room? And then the other thing is just making more flexible enemies. So, for example, this enemy here, hanging out in the room, pew, pew, pew. I blast them, it's great, but it's when I move from one room to the next that there's a problem. So, let's do it. Oh my gosh, he's still here. Or she's still here. I don't know if enemies are gendered, but they follow you wherever, and it just doesn't make sense. So we're going to figure out a way to do that. And so in the enemy class, I'm going to add an additional set of variables, and that's going to represent what is the room that they're supposed to be in. So in addition to HP, I'm going to put in I don't want to call it room X, because we already have that variable as a global variable. So I'm going to say my room X and my room Y. So this will be, what room am I in is the intention. Now, I don't want to randomly choose the room. I mean, that might be cool. I could see how that could be cool. But it would be also pretty hard because it's not a square region. Like, I could choose rooms that aren't actually, black pixels in the map, so it can never get to them. So I don't want to do that. Instead, what I'll do is I'll be able to plan where these enemies go. So I'd like to be able to take some information. We talked about this being a bridge in the past, these parentheses, a bridge of information that numbers can cross over. So when we create our enemy, we can send the constructor the room it should be. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put those in right now. So I'm going to put in int my room x. Oh, but I can't name it the same thing, so I'll put an underscore in front of it. And int underscore my room y. So these are going to be we're going to represent numbers that I'm sending to the constructor. I'll show you where it is that we send the numbers in a moment. Let's just finish up the constructor first. So in addition to setting all these other variables, I'm going to set the enemy's room variables to whatever these incoming numbers are. All right, now we're not quite done. Like I said, this will set the room numbers, but we actually have, when we create the enemies, we have to actually put numbers in for this. These are just names for the numbers that we're sending. And if you go now and look at our setup, you'll see that it doesn't work anymore. It says, hey, what's going on? You're not sending me numbers. It actually says the constructor enemy does not exist. But what it's thinking is the constructor that doesn't take any numbers as parameters doesn't exist. And that's true. We have to send it some numbers. So I'm going to put in, say, 1, 1, for example. So I just want it to be in the starting room. This by itself does nothing. These are just integers, and if I go run this, you'll see that nothing's changed. I go over here. It's supposed to be 1, 1, but it's over here in 2, 1, and these numbers aren't magical. We have to give them some code to enforce the fact that they should only show up in room 1, 1. So where is it that we show and act our enemies? Well, it's in the play tab under this loop here. This is code we wrote in the last video, and you can see that, hey, look at that. This is where the enemies show and act. So what do we do? Well, we could just only do this if it's the right room. So what I can do is I'm going to take this. I'm just going to cut it, Control X or Command X, so that I can write an if statement, and then I'll paste it in. So I'm going to say if e dot my room x equals room x, our global variable, which represents the current room. So in other words, if the enemy's x coordinate, not x coordinate, I shouldn't say, room coordinates match our current room coordinates, and of course we have to do the y as well. E dot my room y equals room y. Then that's when we'll do our show and act. So I'll paste that in now. There we go. So if its hit points are greater than 0, then we'll also check to make sure it's in the room we're in, and then we'll show and act it and go on to the next one. It won't die. we don't remove it because its hit points aren't less than 0. It just won't show up or do anything when it's in the wrong room. So let's just test to see if that works. So there's my enemy, and I'm going to shoot it. It's at 2. I'm going to leave. Hey, look, it's gone. Why is it gone? Well, room X is no longer 1, but the enemy's my room X variable is 1, so these don't match anymore. The current room isn't X coordinate 1. These still match, but you have to make both of them match because it's an AND. So if they both don't match, then it won't show an act. So it's as if it's invisible and turned off, not doing anything. And if we go back, we'll see that it hasn't died or anything. It's still there. And it's still at 2 hit points. It's just not showing up in those rooms. So just to test it further, why don't we put another enemy? I'll make another one. Enemy, ooh, caps lock. Enemy list.add new enemy. And I'll put it in 2-1. So now I expect there to be one enemy in one side, and then when I go to the next room, there's another enemy in there. And we'll see what that looks like. There's the enemy, number 1. I'll just shoot it to indicate, oh look, that one's at 2 hit points, so you know that the other one's different. Across that door, which is really just moving us in the map and changing room X and room Y. And now look, it's another enemy. Whoa, go back. Yay. Oh, yay. Oh, look at that. So 2 different enemies. And you can see this one is acting, and you know, this is the coordinate over here. Like, if I try to shoot the one that's over there, I'm not going to hit it. I'm not getting it. Like, there's no way I can shoot it while I'm in the other room. Because its act function isn't acting when I'm in the other room. So it works out pretty well. I can still blast them, and once they're dead, they're removed from the list, so there's no more enemies. Hey, what do you know? So really, with 2 simple integers, I mean, simple isn't really required in that sentence. With 2 integers, we're keeping track of where the enemy's room location is, and we're enforcing that in our list that processes the enemy with an if statement. And there you go. Thanks, Harry Sadler in my AP class, who, through our discussions, we kind of came up with this plan together. I think it's going to be a really good one. So the next step is going to be building multiple kinds of enemies. And I think I'm going to leave it there for this week. So if you've finished through these variables, you've got an enemy kind of appearing in different rooms and not in all the rooms, then you're done. You did it. But if you want looking for more to do, eventually, once we get those various enemy types in, we're going to be adding in some animation for our characters. So please feel free to go find some sprite sheets. I'm not sure what to suggest in terms of that. So I'll keep on thinking about it. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. You are the best, and I appreciate. Actually, I really do want to mention that I was away last class, and I really appreciate that you guys all kept on working hard, and I feel confident when I leave the classroom in the hands of another teacher that they're going to have a great experience, and you guys are going to work hard, and it's wonderful. So I really appreciate all your hard work out there, everybody. Okay, I'm going to stop it now. Bye.